This meeting is being recorded.
Okay, welcome everybody to our 30-minute meeting we have on Wednesday nights with Dr. Joel Wallach. This meeting is for educational and entertainment purposes only, so that you may find joy in living and live the life that you want to live by the research and development that Dr. Joel Wallach has created and was called to do by raising his children from home or on the road or wherever he was working. Sometimes it was near a zoo or an aquarium, and many of you already know that every one of them are maintained by his thesis, made into a manual for the care and maintenance of all. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome Dr. Joel Wallach.
Thank you so much, Pam, and thank you, Dave. It's one of those things where we're a team, we're a family. Cannot thank you enough for all the great work that you do, helping so many people all over the world. And today I want to talk about things we have to pay attention to. Most of us know that we have to supplement to get our 90 essential nutrients, 16 minerals, 16 vitamins, foam acids, 3 fatty acids. And this is something we have to do. And you go back to the old Bible days, and the people who lived the longest, Methuselah lived to be 969, okay? And let's see here, some of these other biblical characters lived a long time. Let me look here in my paper. And we're looking at, let's see here, Jared lived to be 962, Jonah lived to be 595, Adam lived to be 930, Seth lived to be 912, Enosh lived to be 905, and they were all living in the place called, we call the Garden of Eden. It was a land flowing with milk and honey. Now, one of the things that always, a question I had was, did they have dairy cows? I mean, what does it mean, that land flowing with milk and honey? Well, it turns out that the land flowing with milk and honey were in valleys, and the glaciers up in the mountains were grinding up rocks and grinding up soil, and the water that came down in the rivers and the streams was white with suspended mineral particles. Okay, so they called it milk flowing with milk and honey. It was mineral milk, is really what it was. And these were the people who lived the longest, were living in those places and drinking that water and using that water to irrigate their crops and so forth. So the same thing is true today. We want all these mineral nutrients to give our body what it needs to maximize maintenance, repair, and longevity. But we also have to be aware that there are toxic minerals in the environment, and nutritional minerals do not occur in a uniform blanket around the crust of the earth. They occur in veins like gold and silver. Plants do not make minerals. Plants do not make minerals. Plants can make vitamins, amino acids, and fatty acids. And we do have a book, okay? It's called Hell's Kitchen. We talk about regularly. And it goes into the transition from wood and coal as fuel. Okay, we're putting the wood ashes and coal ashes into our gardens, and the crops would take up the wood ashes and coal ashes. We eat those vegetables and fruit and beans and stuff like that, and we'd get our minerals that way. And then when we went to electricity at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Monday, September 4th, 1882, the transition, suddenly now after 15, 20 years, we didn't have any more nutritional minerals, okay, because we were using electricity. And how many wood ashes, how many coal ashes are in your food, okay, when you're using electricity for fuel? None. And again, plants do not make minerals. Plants make vitamins, amino acids, and fatty acids. So the only way you're going to get the minerals is to consciously, proactively supplement with them, okay? And you want to live like you're living like Methuselah, okay? Living in the land flowing with milk and honey. And the milk, of course, was the finely ground mineral dust in the streams going from the mountains down into the valleys where the Garden of Eden was. And they called it the land flowing with milk and honey because it looked like milk, okay? And that was a very important piece to figure out. And so this is going to help a lot of people when they realize, when they're talking about milk and honey, they're not, in the Garden of Eden, they were not talking about cow's milk, okay? They were talking about the milk from the earth, okay? The mineral, okay? Very important. And again, with all that said, I think people should have a hair analysis once a year. When you have a hair analysis once a year, especially if you travel, because you never know when you're going to pick up something toxic, okay? Or you get visitors from people who come and bring toxic stuff with them, okay? And you get toxic minerals when you go to the grocery store and you buy fruit and vegetables in the grocery store, and they say organic. Well, organic just means that they didn't spray them with chemical sprays. That's all that means. Okay, there's no guarantee that there's not any toxic minerals in there. Okay, because there could be toxic minerals from floods hundreds of years ago, okay, in that soil. Okay, so it's one of those things where you still have to make sure that you're not getting toxic minerals. And the hair analysis is a good way to do it. You don't need a doctor's permission. You don't need a prescription. Get the book, Rare Earths and Cures. Go to chapter 10, 11. It starts at page 272 and tells you how to collect the hair, how to package it, where to ship it. Don't forget to put the check in there. If you're from a foreign country, put a money order in there, because the labs want real money and not somebody's check from New Zealand or something like that. Okay. And so when you're from a foreign country, they're going to want the money orders as opposed to checks. Okay. And then if you do have toxic minerals, okay, in you, we do have the ability to get rid of those toxic minerals. Okay. We have the herbal rainforest. We have herbal rainforest. And using the herbal rainforest, according to the label and your body weight and so forth, you will get rid of the toxic minerals. And so this is, you don't need to go to a doctor and get IVs and go get half your liver taken out and all this kind of stuff. And this is something, again, you don't need a doctor's permission to do. You don't need a doctor's prescription. And it's one of those things where you potentially can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life and eliminate an enormous amount of unnecessary misery, save yourself an enormous amount of unnecessary misery, save an enormous amount of money, okay, because you won't be getting all these sicknesses and running to the doctors. And even if you have insurance to pay for a lot of that, it still costs you time and money and gasoline and parking and all this kind of stuff. And so you could get bugs when you go to the doctor's office, and for something else, you wind up with bugs because you were sitting in the waiting room with somebody coughing all over you. Who knows? Okay. So it's one of those things where we do want to deal with that. Don't forget our seasoned salt from Australia and New Zealand. It's salt, sea salt with, it has like, I don't know, 25 to 28 different minerals in there. We do have our Himalayan salt, which is again sea salt with 25 or 28 minerals in there. And I use them every day on my breakfast and dinner. Okay. And then for lunch, I do have the triple gold chocolates, you know, with the, it has a caramel in it. Okay. And I do use our rebounder sports drink with 75 minerals and 25 vitamins, amino acids. And okay. It's one of those things where the rebound is great. And of course, we're coming out with a great podcast and CD and all this kind of stuff. It's the 20th anniversary we have with Theo Ratliff. He's been with us for 20 years, and he was the one we built the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack for. He's the one we built the Rebound for. And he, you know, his career was over, according to all the doctors. He had so many things wrong with him, and we rebuilt him, and he came back and he played for another 7 years, made $100 million, and he used much of that to buy this big facility where he has his community go there for free training and free health issues and so forth to add healthful years to their life. So I really have to applaud Theo Ratliff for doing that. And of course, this tool would be ready. Rebecca's editing it now as we're speaking, and literally as we're speaking. And so we just did a big interview with him a couple of days ago because it's the 20th anniversary of him being with us, when no team would want him, okay, until we rebuilt him, and then everybody wanted him, okay. And so we have all these things, example after example after example, where the minerals make an enormous positive contribution to people's quality of life their ability to perform, both mentally, physically, biochemically, and so forth. And so please, please, please take, pay attention to this. If you do find some toxic minerals, we do have the herbal rainforest. Just follow the label, how much, by body weight you're going to take twice a day to help your body exit all the toxic minerals. And this is easy stuff. Okay, you don't need a doctor's prescription. You don't need a doctor to walk you through this. This is stuff you can do yourself. Again, the book Rare Herbs and Cures walks you through this, and this is written in 6th grade reading levels, so you don't have to worry about it being too which they say, oh my gosh, all these chemicals and everything. No, it's not like that. Okay, this is easy stuff. And that book flies out the door commonly because people want to know, how can I get rid of these bad minerals? How do I take in the good minerals and so forth? And so Rare Herbs and Cures, and they're forbidden because doctors don't like you to cure yourself. They want to keep giving you medicine to actually treat the pain and the symptoms, but the pain relief does not get rid of the problem. It'll just reduce the pain and symptoms, which people love. There's nothing wrong with that, but the disease will gradually over time get worse and worse and worse, and could eventually kill you. Okay, so with all that said, I'm going to turn it over to Dave and Pam.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. I have a question in regards to Hashimoto disease. And does that have anything to do with the appendix being taken out?
Hashimoto's is a thyroid problem. Okay. And thyroid is easy. Again, the book, let's see here, the book Epigenetics, the book Wallach Revolution, Dead Doctors Don't Lie. They'll kind of tell you how to deal with the thyroid and figure out how to, in fact, that was the first paper that I wrote, was a mass die-off from pollution that killed the thyroid gland in 500 sheep. And when the drop in the temperature came, 500 died in one night. They were okay the day before. That night when the temperature dropped, they all died. That was my first scientific paper I wrote. And Marlon Perkins, the old Mutual Wild Kingdom show, used that study to get a $21 million grant from the National Institutes of Health. And that started my career as a pathologist. Okay. And so this is, which I say, this is well documented. And it's one of those things where if you take care of your thyroid gland, again, of course, we've got the Ocean's Gold, we've got the Fucoid Z, we've got the Z radical. I take all three of those. I have a happy thyroid.
And I was reading on page 446 of the Epigenetics book in regards to the symptoms of Hashimoto's disease. And it does say fatigue, cold intolerance, brittle nails, hair loss, depression, muscle cramps, all these different things that so many people run to the doctor for, when it's right here on this page, 446. And I love the Ocean's Gold and the Fucoid Z. So yes, all those things do help. Now I wondered about the appendix. That was another question that came up. Somebody was wondering about.
The appendix is usually going to happen when you're eating gluten and buckwheat and that kind of stuff, because gluten destroys your intestines, including your appendix. Your appendix is kind of the place where your colon and your small intestine meet, and the appendix is right there. It's kind of a three-way street. And the thing you have to appreciate is if your intestines, including your appendix, when you open them up, they should look like a shag rug with all the finger-like villi in there to increase the absorptive surface. But when you're eating bad stuff, when you're eating bad foods, okay, you're eating all the bad stuff with gluten in it and buckwheat in it, and you're eating carbonated drinks, even carbonated water is bad because it neutralizes stomach acid, so you cannot absorb minerals and digest food. Okay. And so it's one of those things where you have to pay attention to those details. And that's why I put that information in the book. So as the people know to get rid of the bad stuff, do the good stuff. And you can add 25 to 50 healthy years to your life, save yourself an enormous amount of unnecessary misery, and save yourself an enormous amount of money. Even if you have money that pays, that pays the doctor his time and maybe for prescriptions the doctors are going to give you, you're still parking you're still having to deal with gasoline to get there. Okay, maybe having to eat out because the doctor is far away from home and you have to eat a meal or two. You don't want to be dealing with all that. And you can take care of these things yourself, for your family, your friends, your church mates, your workmates. And this is what we do.
Thank you, Dr. Wallach. And so with that being said, everybody needs to have the 90. And so that would be the 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, and 3 fatty acids.
That's correct.
And if they don't get that, they're going to start breaking down.
That's correct. Or if they get it, but they're eating gluten and buckwheat and not absorbing because they're drinking carbonated water and all that kind of stuff, all those nutrients, even if you're supplementing, you're going out the other end and they're winding up in the septic tank, and all the bugs in the septic tank are happy, but you're not happy. So just taking them is a major requirement, but also being able to absorb them is another major requirement. So you got to stay away from all the bad stuff so you can absorb, and that will add many health years to your life and save you an enormous amount of unnecessary misery. When people go to doctors, it increases your risk of death. Okay, doctors kill a lot of people with medical treatments and surgeries and anesthesia and so forth. Okay, when you look at the records, it's very scary how many people are killed in hospitals by surgical procedures, by anesthesia, and the doctors get a walk because people sign a paper saying, well, if you kill me, my family won't sue you.
I hear you, Dr. Wallach, and it's very sad when they start, taking body parts, when you can repair it, and then they say, well, we got to take it right now, and we really don't have that much time. We have to do this right now. It is a fear thing. And, when people walk themselves into a situation like that, they have to have your books right here to be able to explain, what are the alternatives, that they can, use. So we do have
in every family, in addition to the Bibles, right? The Old Testament, the New Testament, they should also have the book Epigenetics, the book Hell's Kitchen, the book Dead Doctors Don't Lie, the book It's All in Your Head, the book Prepare, the book Rare Earths and Cures. We have a new, let's see here, what do you call it? It's one of these sheets that has the educational brochure. Okay, we're running out of those, so we're reprinting them. The new educational brochures, we've added like 3 or 4 new books to them. Okay, and this is what a great gift it gives to somebody, that educational brochure, because it tells you a summary of what each book will teach you. Okay, so it's not listing the books and the prices. It tells you this is what you're going to learn by reading this book and having access to this book. And also, this is, what you can expect if you don't get rid of all the bad stuff. If you get rid of all the bad stuff, you can expect to live longer, healthier, and so forth. Save yourself an enormous amount of unnecessary misery. Save yourself an enormous amount of money. Invest that money in your family.
Absolutely, Dr. Wallach, we're so grateful that you've done all that research. Dave, your hand is raised. You want to go ahead and ask a question?
Yeah, thank you, Pam. Doc, thank you. I just want to tell the folks how simple you've made this, and really how the medical industry has made this for me personally. When I first heard your Dead Doctors Don't Lie cassette tape back in 1996, it was a no-brainer for me. I was angry at the information. I was thrilled. I had all these emotions, going through me. And it's like, how come we didn't know this, But as a young child, I had to go every summer in August to the doctor and get these booster shots that hurt. I was in agony for days. I got sick from them. And it made me hate doctors. It made me hate going to the doctor. And I rarely ever went to the doctor. And when I heard your cassette tape, and then what really pushed me over the edge was when I figured out that insurance was paying to keep me sick and I had to pay to keep myself healthy, that's when I was able to wrap my head around, okay, I got to buy this nutrition no matter what to keep me healthy. And it really saved my life and my family's. And I got to thank you, Doc. And, you know, what
Thank you
better
for
day
sharing
to
your
do
story. It's a
that
great
is
story. Yeah.
Patriots Day, you know. And, you know, I think it was divine what you figured out at 9 years old. And it was divine how I ended up with your tape. And then not hearing you for years and then all of a sudden hearing you on the radio. And it was, I think that was divine. And, you know, I got to tell you, I fell down my basement stairs November 12th, 2012, and they said I almost had to have my foot amputated. And that day, what came in the mail was a bottle of glucogel capsules. And I'd been waiting for you to tell me what you use to rehab Theo. I kept hearing you on as a guest on this radio show, and you were just giving little hints. You know, you didn't really say much, and I didn't know how to find the information. So I kept going back looking for you, and then about a week earlier, you gave out the secret sauce was the glucogel, and Pam had torn a ligament in her hip doing some kickboxing, and they wanted her to have surgery. And she was in agony. She couldn't tie her shoes. She couldn't bend over, you know, climb stairs, get in her car. And, you know, she'd be in tears. I'd have to tie her shoes for her. She'd go to work, and I'd be all freaked out. Oh, my God, is she going to be okay? And, well, when you finally said that, I ordered it. And the day I fell, it came in the mail. And I didn't see it, but when I was in the hospital for 6 days. And when I got out, I'm in the wheelchair sitting in the kitchen. You know, I'm legally blind. I'm looking at Pam. She's standing in the kitchen. I could see her smiling, and she was backdropped by our white refrigerator, and she's doing high knee raises, right? And I'm like, and she's smiling at me. And I'm like, what the heck are you doing? She says, glucogel, baby. 6 days, no more pain.
Yep.
And I was blown away. So
Yeah.
that's what I used. I used the Healthy Body bone and joint pack. I used some liquid glucogel, some liquid or the capsules, and I healed up really nice. And the doctors were astonished, and I didn't get my foot amputated. And you know, the doctor said within 5 years I would be begging him to cut off my foot. I said, why? He said, because there's only one blood vessel that feeds that talus bone, and I've never seen one heal, and you've got the worst break I've ever seen in my career. And I said, how do I even those odds, Doc? He said, nutrition. He walked out of the room. And I was just learning about you talking about nutrition while I was in that hospital, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I never heard another doctor say nutrition in my life except Dr. Wallach. Well, he was right and you were right. And thank you so much, because I'm walking on 2 feet instead of 1.
You know, thank you for sharing your story. And the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack was the original Healthy Start Pack with the 90 essential nutrients in it. And we created the glucogel. That was our first collagen product. And we added that to the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. We added that to the Healthy Start Pack and created the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. Okay. And then we created the Rebound also for Theo. Okay. With 100 nutrients in it, as opposed to Red Bull, which has only magnesium. And so this is what we do. And we cannot thank you enough for sharing your personal stories, you and Pam, because you're great angels of God. And we'll give the good Lord all the credit. And why he chose us. Okay. We don't know for sure for everything, but we're just glad that he chose us, and we're going to be sure that he's happy he chose us, because we're going to do everything he asked plus. And I've got a great story coming out here in a couple of weeks. I can't divulge everything yet, but it's a great God story. It's going to blow everybody's mind when this story comes out in a few weeks, because it's another one of those great breakthrough that's going to help literally millions of more people. So we're so proud.
Thank you, Doc. Doc, the Bible tells us many are called, few are chosen. And I thank him every day because I know I'm a chosen one, or I would have never been able to figure out what you were saying on that tape so many years ago. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you, sir, and thank the Lord. And
Mhm.
you know, again, I'm excited because we're working. We have a CD coming out here as we're speaking. Rebecca's editing it. Okay, it's his 20th year anniversary of Theo since he's been with us 20 years. He just turned 50, and all the stuff that he had, his career was over, and we rebuilt him, and he came back, and he was a top shot blocker, the top shooter, and all these the last 7 years of his career, he was whooping them all. Let me tell you, and they couldn't believe it. You don't play for 14 years and get stronger and better. Okay, but Theo did
It's an
because
incredible story.
yeah, incredible story, and it's going to be available as a tool here pretty quick. So we're excited about that
That's
one. That'll be the
awesome.
first one that's out here in the next couple of days. Then after that, we have two more big newsy things coming out. One of them is big. I mean, big. Okay.
Yes,
Well,
sir.
Dr. Wallach, I have a question talking about rebound. I bought some fish, and one of them was a male guppy, very fancy, expensive guppy, and he was rebounding in the tank. He would go up and down, up and down. And I think it was after I gave him, the food, and he never really went, horizontal. He was always going vertical. So can you tell me what may have been the problem with that particular fish?
Why he's going up and down?
Yeah, he was like rebounding. He just went up and down all the time. There was not any time that I saw him actually going horizontal unless it was before he ate. And I think it had something to do with the food.
Well, yeah. And what were you feeding him?
Can I say it's tetramin? And it
I'm
was
sorry.
a guppy.
Yeah.
Just
And
fish
so-
food from the fish store.
Yeah, there you go, fish food. And so we'll I need to read me the label or text me, the list of stuff on the label. Okay. You have to
Okay.
appreciate when they're out in the wild, they don't get all the stuff that might be in the commercial fish food. Okay. And so they could be 10 times stronger when they're getting commercial fish food than they are when they're, for instance, some years ago, I don't know, 12, 15 years ago, I don't remember exactly. All the dolphins were dying in the big aquariums around the world. Okay. And I autopsied them and I said, oh, the reason why these dolphins are dying, they're dying of congestive heart failure. And I found out what they were eating. And they were eating a particular fish that had an enzyme in it in the fish's muscles. So we changed their diet and we came up with our de-stress capsules, which have the nutrients necessary to eliminate congestive heart failure in humans. And so not a drug, but a vitamin. And so we gave it to these dolphins and all these aquariums around the world, and we ended this plague of congestive heart failure in all the dolphins. Okay, very, very simple. And another one we eliminated was in bears around the world. In every zoo in the world, every species of bear, they were dying in every zoo of liver cancer. And I came back from Africa, and Marlon Perkins gave me a list of things he wanted me to do. The first thing he says, you got to find out why all these bears in every zoo in the world and every species of bears are dying of liver cancer. The doctors are saying it's a genetic thing. No, we never had problems before. Suddenly now we're having all these problems. Well, it took me about 3 days to figure it out. And it turns out that the peanuts that were selling in the zoos were infested with a fungus called Aspergillus flavus, which creates aflatoxin, which creates liver cancer. So we changed it from selling peanuts in the zoo to throw to the bears, to dry dog food to sell at the zoo to throw to the bears. And within 90 days, we ended all the new cases of liver cancer in the bears in the world. That's published in the International Zoo Yearbook, 1968, I believe.
That's good stuff. Thank you, Dr. Wallach. It is the top of the hour. We are so grateful that you were able to be with us tonight. And you have any closing words for us on Patriots Day?
Well, just keep up the great work. You're both angels of God. We cannot thank you enough for all the things you do and for all the people you help, and you will continue to help for many, many years. This is a lifetime thing. This is not something you just do until you feel better, and then you can quit taking your vitamins and minerals. You need to be taking all your nutrients forever, just like you put oil in your car forever. You put transmission fluid in your car forever. You put brake fluid in your car forever. You put antifreeze in your car forever. You need to do the same thing for yourself. Don't treat your car better than you treat yourself. Thank you both. God bless you. I know God loves you.
God bless America. Thank you, Dr.
Thank
Wallach.
you. God bless
Appreciate
you too, Doc.
Thanks,
Thank
Doc.
you. Bye-bye. Thank you all.
Bye. Have a
Thanks,
nice
Doc.
evening.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night and a better tomorrow.